Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pacers Daily. I am your host, Hery Acosta. We're going to keep it short and sweet today. We're just going to talk about how every big time player on the Pacers needs to step up for this series to go the Pacers' way. And we're going to talk about perhaps the four most important all starters. Obviously, it all starts with Tyrese Halliburton, point guard, leader in assists in these playoffs. Been having a very, very good playoffs. Currently, four game tying / game winner in baskets in these playoffs. Um, we saw game one. He was having an off game. Still, with the comeback, came back and hit the game winner. Game two, played a decent game. 12 of his 17 points came in the fourth quarter. A little bit more consistent. C would be great. The Pacers all around need to just be more consistent. But it all starts with Halliburton. Halliburton directs the game. He dictates the motion. Everything goes through him. Normally the first person to have the ball on every play. He's not the only player that can take the ball up the court, but he is the main playmaker. He knows how to find his teammates. He knows how to get open. Needs to be a little bit more efficient on the 3-point. There's some games where he doesn't miss, and there's some games where he can't hit a shot to save his life. There needs to be a balance. He needs to just stay consistent. There's gonna be shots you're gonna miss, but there's also gonna be shots that you have to hit. There's a lot of wide open threes that the Pacers were missing in game two. A lot of wide open mid ranges and just everything the Pacers were not hitting in game two at all. And so, like I said, this is all gonna start with Tyrese. Tyrese is gonna have to step up. Currently averaging 15 and a half points in this series, which isn't awful, but it is way less than what he's currently averaging in these playoffs and in the regular season. So he's just going to have to step up a little bit. Same goes for the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, Siakam. Been having a decent series so far. There just needs to be more. There needs to be more from everybody. Siakam was very inefficient in game two. Didn't really show out. But out of everybody in this series, Siakam is the only player that has started on the finals team. Obviously, Caruso was an important bench player on that 2020 Lakers team. Thomas Bryant didn't barely played on the 2023 Nuggets championship team. But Siakam's been there. Siakam's been that guy. He was probably the second or third best player on that Raptors team. Kawhi was the star, and then Siakam and Lowry were about the same at that time. Was Siakam's first All-Star appearance, and so he's got to really just show to everybody, I've been here before. I know what I'm doing. We're gonna win. I'm gonna show out my experience. He's playing with a lot of very inexperienced guys on the court when it comes to the playoffs. Now, last season was the first time Halliburton made the playoffs. It was the first time Nembhard made the playoffs. This is the first time that last season was also the first time Shepard, Jarris Walker were in the playoffs. This year's first time Mathurin's gonna be in the playoffs. There's just a lot of inexperience when it comes to playoffs for that team. Obviously, this team has made back-to-back conference finals runs. Now we're actually in the finals. Um, but Siakam just gotta sit down and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna lead this team. This is how we play in the finals. It doesn't change. There's a lot more build-up, a lot more momentum. Now it comes back to Indy, so it will be a different story, and a lot of it's because of this guy. Andrew Nembhard has been one of the best players on this team these last few seasons, especially in the playoffs. We have seen the big shots that he has hit. We saw that crossover step back three against Shea in game one that kept the Pacers on pace to win that game. We saw his big shot against New York last year in game three, which kept the Pacers in the playoffs because if they would have lost that game, they would have been out round two. We have seen Nembhard do a lot of crazy stuff. We saw him lock down. He had Brunson and Alcatraz in game six. He's been doing a decent job of actually making sure Shea doesn't have crazy efficient games. They're still efficient, but he has been the best defender against Alexander in this series. And But another thing that has to be done, which I don't know actually how much this could be Nemhard and Neesmith, any of these players, or actually just the refs seeing even a little bit of a tap and it's a foul. Shea has the nicest whistle in the league. If he gets touched, it's a foul, whether it's marginal or non-marginal contact. Nothing against Shea. He gets to a spot, he gets his buckets, he gets his foul called. He doesn't foul bait as much as someone like Brunson did. Still does it a little bit, but that's just how the NBA is. A lot of players like to foul bait, and it works for a lot of players. For Shea, it works almost 24/7. Now there are plays where Shea also pushes off to create space. That is something that the refs aren't looking at a lot on both sides, on either side, which it's been very consistent in the playoffs. Push-offs have not really been looked at too much. But if Nemhard can continue to just keep SGA below 10 free throws a game, there is a very high chance that the Pacers could end up with this series. And the last one, who's the second best player on the Thunder? It's not Chet, it's Jada. Jada was a All-Star this year, third team All-NBA. He was an All-Defensive Team member. He had an almost perfect season this year. Now, he hasn't been efficient in the finals, and a lot of it has been because of Neesmith. At first, whenever we got to the finals, I was thinking, okay, how are we going to defend Shea? Shea is 6'6", gets to the line. Do we put Neesmith on Shea, or do we keep Nemhard and see how that goes? Without thinking about, oh wait, we need Neesmith on Jalen Williams because J-Dub is 6'6", 6'7", and can get hot at any moment. He can drop you 20 whenever he wants. And Neesmith's done a good job. Now, J-Dub has opened up his game a little bit. He's been finding his teammates, been grabbing a bunch of offensive rebounds. So that's also something that needs to really be looked at. The scoring is down. Neesmith has done a good job of making J-Dub force up shots that he really shouldn't be taking. But there's still a few factors that really need to kind of go away in order for the Pacers to secure at least one or both wins in at home. And it's got to be Shea's going to have a good game 9 out of 10 times. One bad game he had was that game they lost against Minnesota, game 3. But Shea's going to have a good game most of the time. You need to make sure players like J-Dub and Chet don't have good games. Game 1, both of them did not have a good game. Pacers won. Game 2, every single one of them had an excellent game. Now, Jalen Williams was a little bit less efficient, but he still had a good game. Shea was a star, and Chet played to his full potential. So, a lot of it comes down to how Neesmith can control J-Dub. Also, his three-point shooting. Neesmith's been on and off of his three-point shooting. If he can get to the level he was at game 1 against New York, this series will be over. 8 of 9 from 3, made 6 in a row in the fourth quarter. You just got to make sure that you keep the momentum, keep the tempo. Every single one of these players. Now, obviously, Miles Turner needs to step up too. He's been having some good games, but he needs to be more consistent from 3. He's been playing very good in the paint. Matherin, McConnell, Toppin are 3 best bench players. They just got to keep the scoring at a consistent rate. Obi Toppin did not show up in game 2 after having a monstrous game 1. McConnell's been very consistent. Matherin has been on and off. He was a non-factor at the beginning of the Knicks series, but then was one of our best players in games 3 and 4. Was having 20-point game in 12 minutes. And so, also, players like Thomas Bryant and Ben Shepherd, 2 players who can shoot corner threes like it's nothing, also can defend pretty well. Just this whole team in general just needs to be more consistent. The Thunder are the hardest team that they have played against. The only team that has beaten them in a game 2. Now they go to Indy. Momentum sticks to our side as we stole home court advantage. So we just got to really keep it up and just see how Rick Carlisle and everyone adjusts to how the Thunder have been playing against us. But as always, I'm Hery Acosta. This is Pacers Daily. And you already know Boom, baby. Let's go, Pacers.